pike and just all these crazy giant things. And then I played Samurai Warriors 1 and unlocked all of their like level 15 weapons that were just unrealistically massive. And I've always been a huge fan of like weapon changes in games. So when I found Dynasty Warriors Orochi, or just Warriors Orochi or whatever, I was like, oh, this is going to be sick. I'd love to see Lu Bu go up against Keiji.
Yeah, it's literally the dream match. That's all it is.
But they ruined it, because instead what they did was they made the ultimate weapons for every Dynasty Warriors character their level 10 weapon from Extreme Legends. But then all of the Samurai Warriors characters got their level 19 weapons from Samurai Warriors 2. So you had Lu Bu with like this tiny, puny, cool-looking pike, and then Keiji had a 5-headed spear with a 2-ton weight at the end, and one swing could kill 50 guys. And I was like, well, this is really sad. Now they clearly picked and favored one side. Big time. Like, there was only 1 or 2 characters from the Dynasty Warriors side that matched up weapon-wise. One was Zhang Fei, and the other one was Fu Shi, but just because his sword was already massive, so that's cheating.
His sword is like 3 of him. It's just...
It was just really sad. Like, oh man, I'm what's his face? Like, who was a good one? My favorite character. What's his name? Zhang Wei.
Oh, okay.
So his ultimate, like, level 11 weapon was like this serrated 3-pronged, really sick looking trident with like feathers coming off of it, and his level 10 is like a basic, like, Nintendo 64 Zelda crystal shaped blade. And that's what he got stuck with. And then you see, who's the main character from Samurai Warriors? The spear guy.
Sanada.
Yukimura Sanada.
Yeah, so then you see his, and he's got like 3 blades that look like flames with a lion skull coming off of it, and flames coming out of the lion skull. And like, well...
Fuck.
Whatever.
Got it.
You guys should try. Have you guys tried Warriors Orochi 4? It's pretty sick, actually.
Not yet.
They all got lost Greek god forms.
I lost interest once everybody got the same move sets and they ruined the game.
It's fair.
It's
fair.
They
did start to make them different again, though.
That's the thing that held back. Samurai Warriors was lacking in that for me, because there wasn't enough variety in the move sets that just got. I don't know, it got repetitive faster than a Dynasty Warriors game.
It's sad, because I miss the Dynasty and Samurai games a lot, but I can't get behind, like, oh, I'm going to play Zhang Wei. Okay, square, stab, slash, upper slash.
Yeah.
I'm going to play, what's-his-face? Square, slash, stab, upper slash. Wait, isn't that the same? Well, yeah, but if you hit triangle, this guy swings to the left. The other guy swings to the right.
But if you hit triangle again, he gets more powerful, which makes 0 difference when you're carving through 1,000 fucking people. Like
oh, also, they can use each other's spears? Nice. So there's no uniqueness anymore?
No. Cool. No, so Dynasty 6.
Yeah, so they kind of did this thing where, like, instead of unique movesets, they just gave them super, like, random, crazy, ridiculous weapons that no one would ever fucking use.
Yeah.
Like, Jahoba, now, instead of, like, his big dumb sword, uses this fucking, like, rocket pike. Pile driver.
Yeah, or I really didn't like when they made Wei on a hammer bell.
Yeah,
like, that's not him.
That was Dynasty 6. Dynasty 6 really fucked up a lot. Like,
but was it like more than Dynasty 9?
Although the only thing I liked in that game is what they did with who's the king of the wild people? He's got the bear claws.
Meng Wo.
Yeah, they gave him the giant pillar that he just ripped out of his kingdom. That was pretty cool.
But he was mostly like a gorilla at that point. Like,
they went back to his moveset now is really cool. It's basically Blanca from Street Fighter. He just fucking barrels through things with this double-sided. I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely fixed it.
He was so annoying in Extreme Legends, though, because I'm trying to get everybody's super weapons, and like I looked up how to get his level 10. And I kept trying it, and it never worked. And I was like, I'll bet you anything This is like after a year of trying. I'm like, I bet you anything they messed up his level 11 with his level 10, and they just don't know how to do it. Yeah. And I found a pattern that to get a lot of them, you just had to kill a bunch of people in a certain amount of time. So I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try and kill like 1,000 people in 10 minutes. So I found everyone I could and slaughtered them. And then it said, like, the emissary showed up in green. And I was like, oh, well, there he is, dead.
Nailed it.
After a year of waiting, I just had to let Wei Yan be himself and massacre everybody.
Makes sense.
Who would have thought?
Hardest one to get was the create your own character straight sword. You had to kill like 500 people in 3 minutes.
Jesus.
In a certain map. And like the map you're in, there's a lot of people, but they're spread out.
Gotcha.
So you had to like run over to this group real quick, and then like, and you also had to pick a certain moveset. So there was like 5 different straight sword movesets you could do, and one of them was based off Liu Bei, and you had to pick his because like his second triangle move did a area of effect slash that like hit everyone around you. So you could just clump up the groups of people and square triangle and just slash 50 people in one go.
Yeah.
Right.
And that took like a good 90 tries before I finally got it. And it was only by luck. Like I killed that guy who gave me the power double boost and then used that to get more boost, and like that would never happen again.
Who's fucking I know what this is. Whose sword is this? Hang on. I just found this thing on fucking Google, and I know it looks really familiar. It's definitely like Samurai Warriors.
Yeah. The benefit that I had with like playing the Dynasty game is that I rarely played a Dynasty like one player.
Oh, that's like, I believe that is Jotai's sword from 6 after they removed him with the katana.
Wait.
What? I don't see anything. Where did it come up?
It's in Discord.
The general.
Yeah, I know Jotai. He's one of my favorite characters. I literally had not discovered him until Warriors Orochi 3.
Yeah, he was disgusting, mostly with his super, because if you caught anybody in it, they were dead, and if you had the right equipment on, his super would last for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yes, Rob will tell you that I am a huge Jotai fucking...
Yeah, he was
rub
like
my penis
top.
To his pictures.
He was like top 4 for me. And, that was another cool thing. They got rid of the bodyguard system, which I really liked. Like so for like Extreme Legends, you started off with like 2.
Oh, that's right.
And they only had a spear, and they would just like poke people. But then they leveled up, and you got 3 of them, and now they can do a poke and a slash. And then you level up to get them to 8, and now they've got full on dragon armor, and they do like their own supers and combos, and they just swarm people with you. And there was actually a secret way to level them up to get legendary followers, which I didn't know about. So if you just have them get spears and you get them to level 20, you get 8 of them, and they do spear stuff, and they're called like honor guard or something like that. Okay. But if from like level 1 to 3 you train them on straight swords, and then 3 to 7 on spear, and then 7 to whatever, like you have to do it in a certain order, they become dragon gods, and they get the same armor, but like they can do Mushu combos.
Oh shit.
Where like one will start off and wreck a crowd, and then once the crowd gets back up, 2 rush in and separate them, and the other one will do a Mushu and massacre the one guy in the middle that didn't get away, and their stats increased by a little bit too.
We just really opened up a whole fucking can of worms.
Yeah, you can't. Dynasty was a huge part of like everything that we used to. Alex, like I'm saying, if it wasn't like a fighting game, that was the game we were playing together, like legit.
Like, it's just funny that the first Dynasty Warriors wasn't even a Dynasty Warriors fucking game in Japan, but in America they were just like, fuck it, here you go.
That fighter was so terrible.
It was so bad. But there is a 2D one though that's pretty great. It's not Dynasty Warriors, but it's like Romance of the Three Kingdoms. But it's a 2D fighter with like all those characters and everything, and it's fucking cool.
Have you ever played a Romance?
No, because I don't like tactical RPGs.
Yeah, I tried to play one time, and again,
the only ones I like are the Gundam SD games. They did some of that. I don't know if you remember, Rob, when we were doing the YouTube channel. There was I posted a video of the one that was Kamen Rider Ultraman and Gundam, I think.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, it was like those 3 crossovers, but that was a tactical RPG.
Did you guys ever play Dynasty Warriors Gundam?
Yes, of course. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I fucking love that game. The Reborn was easily the best one of the series. The fourth one?
I don't even remember which one I played. I just remember it was a Dynasty themed Gundam game.
Yes, so good. So
good. So that was the one where they literally turned the Crossbone X1 into Jotai, and that's why it was so fucking cool. So the Crossbone X1 is. Do you guys? I mean, I know Rob, you know a little bit about Gundam. How much do you know about Gundam, Ben?
I know of Gundams, and I've put together like 20 models.
Okay,
but that's about it.
Gotcha. So this was. Do you know Gundam F91? Are you familiar with that at all?
Oh yeah, Gundam F91. That's the one right after 90.
Yes.
Yeah. And before that,
fucking dick. So long story short, his upgrade suit, because there's like a sequel series where they go to Jupiter. They're the smallest in the Universal Century timeline, the smallest suits that they make. So they made him like this dumb, fast, basically ninja thing, and he does a super where essentially it's like Jotai, where he just like does a million cuts and like dashes across the screen and fucking juggles 10 billion people at a time.
It's so sexy.
It's so cool.
It sounds kind of like Hanzo.
Yes,
sort of,
yeah. Except he doesn't do like the dumb fucking like Super Ninja Star spread. I fucking hate that super. It's so bad.
He was really fucking lame.
I think it's more so because he's Hattori fucking Hanzo. I had such high expectations for him, and Samurai Warriors overall, their Misaels didn't really like capture me too much.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun.
They weren't as anime as Dynasty Warriors. That's why.
Yeah, it's
but
Dynasty Light.
I will give them for all the people that basically use like a basic bitch sword. The Samurai Warrior ones do mix it up really well and interesting, where you have the people that hold like 17 of them and fucking do ridiculous shit like that, or like have a gun on the end of it, like what's his face?
Oh, Massimo.
Yeah, like just crazy.
That was upsetting too. I really liked his weapons in the first Samurai Warriors, and then they gave him a pistol and a sword, and I was like, well, there goes that.
Date is honestly always
just something about a kid like in a war zone with two bamboo sticks, but then you upgrade them and they're like onyx forged bamboo paddles that he just slaps people with. And the attack combos were just cool. Like it was like you had a fan, so they were easy to swing, but they hit you like a brick.
Yeah. Those are shits, man. I miss those games.
Yeah.
I've been playing Warriors Orochi 4 a little bit. Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate just came out, so that has all like a bunch of DLC. They had like Ryu Hayabusa and all this shit. And who's the kid that Honda kills? His uncle is fucking nuts with the hammer.
Oh,
Shimada. Is it Shimada?
Shoot. That sounds right. Shibata. Isn't it? No, not Shibata.
Shimada. Kanbei Shimada. No,
Shimazu.
There we go. Couldn't think of it. It's been a hot second since I turned the game on.
Yeah.
Because this dude he has like an axe hammer thing, and it's the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because he just does he's basically Domon. Yes.
Oh.
Toyohisa Shimazu. Is that him or is that the uncle? Yes, that's him. Toyohisa Shimazu. It's the nephew. That's the one Honda like fucking murders and he ganks on the fucking battlefield. Because the dude like falls off his horse and then Honda just like beats him with a hammer thing. But this dude, he screams like Domon from G Gundam and just spins his sword and has this giant axe that just gets on fire and like he throws it during his it's sex. It's just pure unadulterated sex. I fucking love it. Oh god, I love these games. I gotta try Dynasty Warriors 9. They tried a lot of like new, unique weapons that I don't think stayed very well because the game's kind of boring looking.
I've never played it. So the last one I played 8 briefly, but I didn't like play I didn't normally beat the hell out of it. Thing. No.
What was the open world one?
That was 9.
That's 9, yeah. That's the newest one.
Yeah, where they mixed everyone's weapons up and they made them kind of similar again, but like they're really unique variants of like the basic bitch sword. Like the guy who always he's in Jin, but he's in like a full set of like like Western armor, and he always has a spear. I forget his name. He usually throws it. It's usually like a javelin spear type thing, and he always fucking throws it and darts to it.
No, I don't think he's Is he Jin? I thought he was
I'm pretty sure he's Jin. he might be Wei. I don't know. Either way,
I thought that was
in
Lidian.
9, they give him this crazy, like almost like Guan Yu's kid with the wing swords. They give him almost like that kind of thing, which is strange. Let me see if I can find a picture of this guy.
No, it wasn't Lidian. That's not the right
No,
one.
that's not him. That's a new character.
Was it? I think it's Eugene. Eugene.
I have no idea. I've been out of it for too long.
No,
He's a fairly new character.
Yeah,
I want to say they
think
added him in like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I
It's
know
not
who you're
Eugene.
talking about. I just thought he was with Wei, but yeah, I know the character you're talking about. Can't remember his name. I got this gut feeling that he's with Wei, bro.
I think it's Jin. I really think it's Jin. It's Jin or Wei. Either way, it's one of those two. Wen Yang. That's him.
Wen Yan?
Wen Yang. Yeah. So
okay.
in
So
9, they give him. He doesn't have this in Rochi. He goes back to his like spear and throws it. But they give him this wild fucking this thing where they do this with a lot of the characters in there, where they give them these super unique weapons that are only in that version. So like I want to try it just for that.
So it's like a glaive, but
yeah, and like Deng Ai has this big dumb axe now, instead of his weird like Gatling gun thing.
Okay. The piled bunker thingy.
Yeah, that has like a machine gun on it too. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So they try a bunch of new stuff. So.
Well, I mean, hey, it has to evolve. It has to have changed.
He is Wei. He's in Wei engine. So I think he's in the transformation there.
In a world of shiny helmets, spandex jumpsuits, and strange monsters, these heroes force feed you a bowl of awesome that is the Tokudon Podcast. Join Carl, Josh, and Rob as haphazardly welcome you to the exciting genre of tokusatsu. Now, open wide.
Someone else do the intro this time. I'll try to do an intro.
How does one do an intro?
I don't know. Just say, hey, thanks for watching Tokudon, or some bullshit like I always fail to do.
Hey, thanks for watching Tokudon, or something like I always fail to do.
Fucking
I'm Ben. That's Carl.
Welcome back, guys. This is the
That's
Tokudon
Rob.
Podcast. I'm Rob.
Now you're just stepping on each other's feet. Now this is totally.
I'd like to interrupt and use this opportunity, because if it were my own, to say, hi guys, welcome back to Tokudon.
And this is why only you do it.
Yeah. Oh fuck. All right, welcome back to I'm just gonna fucking do it. All right, never mind. Welcome back to Tokudon. This has been a hot minute and a fail because I tried to have them participate, so I'm just gonna fucking do it myself. We're gonna do a discussion this week because last time we reviewed, I don't even remember what we reviewed. Oh yeah, VR Troopers. We reviewed VR Troopers. And we will. Did you get a chance to watch any of it, Rob?
I didn't actually.
Okay.
Because I was I was too far gone. I found the link to watch Young Justice and Batman Beyond.
Oh.
And all the other old shows that I haven't watched in like ages.
Oh.
So I have to say that's what
I see. You're prioritizing other things instead of putting your whole heart into this, like some of us do on a weekly basis. Because it totally wasn't my fault. We didn't record for like 4 weeks. So shut up.
Not at all. Sir. No.
It's because it's totally hinging on me whether we record or not. It's fine. Totally fine. 100% fine.
Totes.
So yeah. Okay. I mean, I was just gonna say, you can give us our thoughts on that, but whatever. That's fine. You're ruining this organic discussion. It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
So yeah, we're just gonna talk this week and see what happens. We're gonna start with what we've all been up to, like we usually do in our discussions, and kind of just go from there. I guess we don't really have a topic this week. We'll find one along the way.
It'll happen.
It'll happen like we always do. I'm sure we'll get off some rant whether we pick a topic or not. So.
Oh no,
pretty good
legit.
at that.
I mean, I've been other than the shows. I mean, whatever. But no, because I had recently heard that I didn't know that Young Justice came back for a final season.
Yes.
And
Fourth season, I think.
Right. Third, I think. Yeah, third.
Whatever.
So
I've never seen it.
I was like, oh wow, I used to love that show. So I was like, okay, I'll just fire stick the season because I'm pretty sure it's got to be somewhere. But it was all of it. So I'm like, dope. I can watch like from the beginning and like legit. I plowed through the first 2 seasons in like 3 to 4 days. But I've started the 3rd season now. They changed some of the voice actors, obviously, because it had been like I forget how many years, but at least more than 5, I think. But so watching it again, I was glad that I had went back because rewatching the whole show, you're put back into that like invested state. And if I had just jumped into the 3rd season, I'd have been so thrown by the voice changes, by the production quality, which went up. But it was just
really?
it was it was like, it's not like how to put it, like it's not better by miles, but it looks, I guess, because it's newer.
Gotcha.
Like a newer frame. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks crisper, but
Gotcha.
That's all I mean. But anyway, so yeah. So other than that, and then watching the Batman Beyond, like that's such a contrast, man.
I don't like Batman Beyond. I'll say it.
I like it. I can't help but like it because after so much of the same, Batman story over and over again, this was at least different enough for me to like it.
That's fair. I'll give it that. I don't. It needs like I can't do the baddie of the week thing anymore. That's really all my issue is with it. There's not really like an overarching plot. Which
I don't think he ever stood a chance of beating Batman's villains, though. Like, there's you can't top those if you're.
But they didn't even try. That's kind of my point.
Like, can you? Like, how? Like even somebody as, I don't want to say, somebody like Mr. Freeze, like a Mr. Freeze storyline.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of tragic villain. How do you top even someone like that? Not even coming to like the Jokers or anything like that.
I mean, they go the route of Spider-Man where everyone has the same backstory.
I don't know. You're defined by your villains, and Batman by far has the best. So I don't think
he sucks at everything else, so that's fine, I guess. I hate Batman. I fucking hate Batman.
Batman or the Batman story, because Batman.
I just hate Batman. Like,
well, I feel like though, if you have a hero who's based around a bat, you have a lot more freedom to make just different weird villains. Like you have someone like Iron Man, he's a guy in a robot suit, so the best you can do is like warlords, or like some kingpin. If you have a guy in a weird city who's dressed like a bat and flies around like a bat, you can be like, all right, maybe we give him like, I don't know, some guy who's cold all the time.
Right, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I just
some clown that broke out of the circus and went on a killing spree.
It's the Superman curse. Like all Superman's villains are fucking lame, except the really, really good ones, and that's like what, 3?
Does he actually have any villains? Because he's fucking Superman. Like, do
Lex
they even
Luthor,
count?
That's what I'm saying. Like that, you have Lex Luthor, you have Doomsday, which is his physical match, and Apocalypse. That's it.
Who isn't really like a Superman villain? He's kind of like a DC villain.
Exactly. But those are like his main villains that could actually stand a chance.
All
Everything
of those
else
problems, I feel.
Is it Doomsday or Apocalypse?
Doomsday killed him.
Okay.
Yeah, Doomsday killed him, quote unquote.
So he's my favorite character now, so that's fine. I just like, my problem with Batman is everyone's like, oh, he doesn't have any powers, he's just super smart, but then he like takes a punch from Doomsday to the chest like a champion, and he's like, no, I'm fine. Like, wait, what? The power scaling here. I mean, it's Superman is literally going toe to toe, smack to smack, and Batman comes in and is just like, here's the bomb, boop.
Yep. Well,
like,
that's
wait,
that.
What? It's fucking money is his superpower. That's what it is.
It is, and so is Iron Man's.
That's fine, but like at least Iron Man has like, I mean, I guess it's all right, but like, you know what I mean? Like Iron Man has different suits and things like that. Like I guess Batman does now. Like he has the Hellbat and all that shit, and like Batman Beyond kind of went down that like Iron Man path. But I don't know, something about him just bugs the crap out of me. It's I don't know. Fucking.
I'm just not a fan of Marvel or DC in general. So
I like Marvel better, but I think DC is darker, which I like.
Well,
so
if from what my brother told me is true, those combining. Two entities are going to be combining.
Yeah, because Disney has to buy literally fucking everything.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see.
I don't know if that would be. I mean, it wouldn't be a monopoly just because there's like Dark Horse and all these other like decent IDW, all that kind of stuff. But like, they're the two titans of industry.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
As long as they don't buy Dark Horse, that's all I care about because they've been publishing all the manga I've been reading. So I don't really care what they do at that point.
I don't think they would.
Disney manga.
I don't think Disney would ever go that wrong.
Disney? Like buying Dark Horse or just manga?
Like manga.
I mean, there's manga Spider-Man, but that might have been before Disney bought them. I mean, I don't. They made Mulan. That's kind of manga-ish. It was actually, we watched it not too long ago. I was like, is this racist? I don't. It's just, I was watching it and I was like, I don't know if that's acceptable anymore.
Well, the remake, they don't have Mushu or songs, so why did they bother?
Unless there's like a really cool like Chinese war drum version of "Make a Man Out of You." It's like act like that wouldn't be cool though. Like it would have to be like dope though. It would have to be dope, but like, I mean, it seems like they're adding some cool stuff.
I would even take them playing the Jackie Chan version of the song over that section. Just give me that.
I think it's funny that they can't include like the mysticalness of like Mushu and the spirits and all that, but yet they still went the traditional route of like, you know, soldiers running up a vertical wall, like they're running on a cloud kind of deal.
That's kind of what bothered me. Yeah, like on that line, like they don't want Mushu, but this lady literally turns into a bird and like a dragon and flies away. Like what?
I don't get it. Unless they just didn't want like
they didn't want to spend the CG money on having Mushu and like
right. That's what I was like. It always comes to fucking budgeting.
Yeah.
Is the movie out yet?
No, I don't believe so.
No.
Okay,
not at the time of this recording for the podcast people. Not at the time of this recording.
So is it definitely known then that Mushu is not in it?
Yeah, it's 100%. He's not in it. Yeah,
like the director or something said he wasn't in it.
Yeah, I mean, I called it like right from the pre-trailer. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be garbage.
That's what I said about The Lion King. That's stupid.
We just watched that the other night. I honestly didn't hate it. Like it obviously doesn't hold a candle to the original, but like I didn't hate it. I just didn't like Childish Gambino as Simba. Honestly, I
didn't like Scar.
I didn't like the fact that everything from the cartoon to the live action was perfect, except they got rid of Pumbaa's meat dance song. Like that's the only thing they changed, and they turned. I forget what song they used, but it was
turned
like,
it into like the
Beauty and the Beast. Really? That's what it was. Yeah, be our guest instead of are you vegan for some bacon? And I was like, no, you just went from 100% to 98.
I mean, shot for shot remake aside, I don't know why we even needed to do it. Honestly,
Jon Favreau really worked hard on that one.
He did, and I love Jon Favreau. Like he made a lot of really good Marvel movies, but he also made some stinkers. So
he gave us The Mandalorian.
And he also gave us Iron Man 1 and 2.
So I forgive him a little bit, but still, this is the way.
This is the way.
Is it?
Did we establish if that was Toku or not?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Like next season, you're going to see him be like, Jin Yaren, whap! He's going to like Mando up. Darksaber comes out of his asshole. Like, yeah!
Sentiment.
Child this.
Oh my god. What? No.
I would pay severe money to watch that.
Baby Yoda
just
would be
grabs his belt, then Baby Yoda slides Yoda into his belt. What the heck is happening?
It's just one of those little like baby carriers as a belt. Mandalorian, please.
Kamen Rider, what? Kamen Rider Nanny.
The child.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Oh, that's what it says when he henshins. You know how they always have their little like speech that they give.
Oh yeah.
Do or do not.
No, it would be like 01. Do or do not.
It's just the little jingle is the baby just holding out its hand and like squinting and pooping, whatever it does. That's how it henshins. Oh man. Oh baby. Oh shit. What else did you do?
Let's see.
A whole lot of fucking nothing.
That's been pretty much it. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I actually had a question. Because this is a good talking point. I do not know what show you were referring to.
Which one?
Explain it. The one you just got back in.
Young Justice.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, Young Justice. Okay. So 2012, whatever. There was Jamal, which was our roommate back in college. He used to, I don't know, he used to always download all these shows. Like he downloaded the Avatar for us, and we kind of like made a ritual of watching a new show. One day out of the blue, he's like, "Hey, there's this new DC show, Young Justice. You guys want to watch that?" And first I was thinking Teen Titans, and I'm like, "Oh, Teen Titans is okay, but it's not me. Like I didn't grow up with them, so it was." But anyway, we gave it a shot, and it's so it teeters at the cusp of feeling like a Teen Titans show, but then because of who's involved with the production and the storytelling, it takes like a more serious approach to kind of the same story, because they're the Teen Titans. I can't correct me if I'm wrong, but they go up against like a secret order, and they have like, I don't know, like a villain of the week type thing leading up to that final villain. If I'm right or wrong, I have no real clue.
For Justice League or Teen Titans?
Teen Titans.
Teen Titans, it was I think the big bad, quote unquote big bad, was really just Raven's dad and Slade. Those were really like the big bads. I don't know. Okay. I kind of fell off towards the end, so I really don't know.
Okay. So Young Justice, they're going up against this order called the Light, so to speak. But the Light acts like an octopus, where it has like it branches out into like all these other things that they encounter first, and it leads them up to revealing that it's all been this one umbrella entity that's been operating everything that they've been going up against. And not to ruin everything, but because they needed a certain result to happen, things that seemed like they were an accident in the show, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was really well done. And that was just like the first season and the second season. And then it got canceled. and it sucks because they always cancel the best shows. Like, what the fuck?
They're literally like, it's a sequel to Justice League Unlimited. I'm pretty sure it's like a direct sequel to it.
It's a spiritual, yeah.
It's like a lot of their kids. Like there's Aqua Lad, who isn't really like the son of Aquaman, but like he's from Atlantis and he's had some connection to him. I forget exactly what it is, but like there's that. There's Superboy, that kind of stuff. So it's like their it's the next generation.
That'd be unfortunate. Imagine having to be called Aqua Lad your entire life until your dad died because he already took Aquaman.
Yeah.
So if you're a 75-year-old Aqua Lad, like
Aqua Lad's pretty badass, though. I will give him that. He's fucking cool.
He's arguably the best character there.
What little I watched was like 4 episodes. Whatever one where Red Tornado like went off the first.
Oh
one.
yeah.
I that's probably like episode 2. But whatever I watched, like Aqua Lad was pretty fucking cool. So
yeah. And then there's a bunch of other characters that as the season. Within the 3 seasons, they go through enough of a roster change or additions and stuff like that goes around within the roster that it keeps it fresh, and it keeps it doesn't feel like the group is safe, because things could change and characters get replaced, and it happens often enough. It's an engaging show. It's not like like Teen Titans, where it's going to be the same ones every fucking episode because nothing happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's nice it's enjoyable if you remember like how dope like Batman the animated series was, Superman, Justice League Unlimited. If you remember how that storytelling was, it's the same exact storytelling.
Interesting.
Yeah, check it out.
I feel like, didn't they like just do a new movie or something where like all of the Teen Titan and Justice League people from every multiverse like come together?
They did the CW live action shows did Crisis on Infinite Earths, if that's what you're thinking of, where like Brandon Ruth returned as like Superman, and they had
no, this is like a cartoon thing. Like they actually did a new movie where the original Teen Titans meet the new ones, and then the Justice League,
yes,
all those guys come back.
I remember. Yes, I remember like the old Teen Titans meeting like the Teen Titans Go Teen Titans. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the Justice League at all, but yeah, Teen Titans Go does not get enough credit. That show's hilarious.
Is it?
It is actually hilarious.
I just never caught on with the Teen Titans, so
it's fair. I didn't either, honestly. There was a couple episodes I really liked, like Red X was just really cool. Any episode with Red X was really fucking cool.
Who is Red X?
Red X is who Robin pretends to be when he goes out to do his like anti-hero thing, and then someone takes his outfit, and you never really find out who it is.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay.
It was cool moments like that. Were really cool. But yeah, the Teen Titans Go is hilarious. There's like an '80s ripoff cartoon episode where it's just nuts. It's just nuts.
80s cartoons.
Yeah.
Oh, those were great.
There's a fantastic little theme song that plays throughout the episode on repeat. It's so good.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's remembering how Jamal would introduce us to those. Remember, did you ever watch? Were you watching the Thundercats remake with us?
The 2011 one, like the good-looking one?
Yeah.
No, I never watched it.
That was actually really good.
That's what I heard, and then like no one really watched it legally.
Nobody watched it. Yeah, nobody watched it, and it got canceled. But it was really good.
Yeah,
like it had the potential to take that show, and like Voltron. You know what I mean? It had that same vibe, that same refreshing. Wow, this is awesome.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure it was if not the same team, like someone from that worked on it because it has a very similar art style.
Listen, there's the one voice acting director that I think is, in my opinion,
you don't
the
have
best. Well, whatever. It's this thing. Don't take it away from me. She's Andrea Romano. If you look at her history, you can IMDb her, please. Everything that she has directed has a level of voice acting that's above average. Like you can't mistake her style. One, she did all of the shows that I mentioned before: the Batman, the Superman, the Justice League. She casted and directed probably the majority of all those episodes. So it's that level that I'm talking about, that she's awesome. And she did the Uncharted series. She did I don't know if she did a GTA or not, but she definitely did all of the Uncharted series. She did the Legacy of Kain series. I think she just did the Tomb Raider.
That's why. The only reason you like her is because of Legacy of Kain.
That's where I discovered her.
Literally nothing else matters. Just the fact that she did Legacy of Kain.
Yes, that is why I fell in love with her. and I don't think we've even mentioned my Legacy of Kain.
No, Rob has a mild obsession. Let's call it. Mild obsession is the nice way.
Mild is fine. I mean, they haven't prescribed me enough medicine yet, but mild is the route. But yes, I do have a very high appreciation for Andrea Romano because it started with Legacy of Kain.
It's one of those things where if any video game discussion goes on long enough, he just goes like, "Yeah, but Soul Reaper."
guys,
listen, but Cain, and we're like, oh, Cain and Abel, or like Cain from like Supernatural. He's like, no, but Legacy of Kain.
Refuse the sacrifice, okay? Let's start with that.
And we'll just be like, oh yeah, no, I had this bubble gum the other day, and he's like, but Legacy of Kain.
Wait, okay, so what is Legacy of Kain?
Sacrifice.
Do you want to explain what Legacy of Kain is?
Do we have time?
Yes.
Okay. So, Legacy of Kain. Okay. So, oh god, where do I start?
Was this a game or a show?
It's a video.
It's a game. It's a series of games that
you said Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver is like PS1. It was like that.
It's part of that same series.
Kind of
so
thing.
yeah, Soul Reaver is part of the Legacy of Kain story. So Legacy of Kain started off as a PS1 game where you play as the titular Kain. He becomes a vampire. A lot of stuff happens to him. Ends up having the fate of the world in his hands, and he makes a decision, which leads to which that game was called Blood Omen. Then Blood Omen, after X amount of years and console generations pass, and we finally come to the continuation story of that first story, which was Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. That's a PS1 title where you play as a whole new character that has a special relationship with Kain. A lot of stuff happens. And then
just to clarify what that stuff is, Kain throws him into a fucking hole because he's a bitch.
Okay, so Kain has jealousy issues and envy issues, and if you have something he wants, you're probably gonna die.
Kain's a dick, is what he's trying to say. Kain's
a
dick.
But Kain isn't the Soul Reaver dude,
No.
or he is?
No.
Okay.
Kain is the main character in Blood Omen.
Kain is like king of the vampires, essentially.
Yes, he's the hero you play in
Dracula.
Blood Omen. Then he becomes the villain in Soul Reaver.
Yes.
And in Soul Reaver, you play as Raziel, his lieutenant, for like thousands of years or whatever.
Yep.
Until
and then Raziel was like, "Hey man, maybe we shouldn't be dicks." And Kain was like, well, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to take your wings.
No. Here's what it really was. Here's what it really is. So
what is it really, though?
See, I told you we got him off on a thing. No, but listen, man. Rob has like the lines with the string on the wall right now, and he's just smoking like chain smoking cigarettes. He's like, "Come on, man."
I'm drinking coffee straight out of the grinder.
Coffee
on tap in his arm. Okay, we're good. We're good. I said we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, we're good. I'm good.
We're good. But you gotta keep up. Because it just keeps moving, even if you're not there. All right. So vampires undergo a state of change. Raziel emerges one time with a set of wings, and in a fit of jealous, Kain rips the wings off his back and then has his brothers throw him into the bottomless pit of death, because vampires still have the universal weakness of war. So Raziel burns for tens of thousands of years or whatever. I forget the timeline exactly, but
it's like 1,000 years or something like that.
Something like So he cooks and and he becomes this really purpley, putrid, deathly corpse-looking thing. Right? Mm-hmm. Boom! But he's alive, so to speak. He wakes up in the Shadow Realm. So
literally,
hey, I've been there. I think I met this guy.
We're buddies.
Raziel. Yeah, no, I just call him Raz. Yeah.
Good guy. Creepy, but good guy. But okay. God, okay.
You go back to the video game, and I'm like actually a side character. Like, oh crap! I didn't know anyone was filming that.
Fancy that. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that's the character you play, Raziel.
That's Raziel. Yeah.
So, I gotta show him Kain. Anyway,
I'll find it.
So, all right. So to keep going with that, Raziel emerges into the spectral realm, and he's confronted by this booming voice that's coming out of this weird, tentacly Cthulhu-looking thing, and he basically tells him, "Listen, here's the deal. I brought you back to life. Congratulations. You now aren't a vampire anymore, more or less. Now, instead of blood, you eat souls. So, Soul Reaver. Okay? Cool. Mm-hmm. Which, ironically, Soul Reaver, the name, you see the sword on Kain's back in that one picture there?
Correct.
That's called the Soul Reaver.
It all comes together later.
It all comes together, baby. Okay, so, now, what I should have mentioned in the past is this.
In the past, 30 seconds ago.
About 2 minutes ago. The first game, it ends canonically with this main guy, Kain here, refusing to sacrifice himself to restore these things called the pillars, which like bring balance to the world, so to speak.
Elder gods. They're elder gods.
Right. So without these pillars, they go to shit. The world starts to die because he said, you know what? Rather not kill myself. Okay. So curses the world for thousands of years. Vampires become which prior to the oh my god, there's so much to this story. So the reason that Cain refused to sacrifice was because he became a vampire, and he was fighting this order the entire game that was eradicating vampires to the point that he was the last one, and if he had killed himself, that's it. Okay,
right.
So
you follow me, man. You follow me.
Follow me, because that's his
I'm right
reason
there with
for
you on the
not
red
doing it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the shit gets crazy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to where we are at right now. Raziel's awake. He now has, instead of a bloodthirst, he craves souls. So he goes out, becomes more powerful, and systematically realizes that over time he's been dead, the world has gone to total shit. And Cain is still alive. His brothers have undergone that state of change where he grew those wings so much and so many times that they've become almost monster-like. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then it becomes, your typical game. He beats every brother one by one, gains a whole new ability. Meanwhile, he's encountering Cain periodically throughout the story. And this is when the story really makes you can lose your mind.
This is when the story starts. That was all the opening cutscene before that.
So Cain explains to Raziel and what he did to him. He had to do. He had to do it. And it wasn't because he was jealous. And it wasn't because he was just done with Raziel. It's because that is their fate. Because Cain discovered a time fucking chamber at X point in his life, and he saw the course of his life and the fate that he and Raziel were supposed to undergo. So based on his observations about that fate, he decided what he was going to change and what he wasn't. And unfortunately, Raziel had to bite a big one because that's how it had to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So Raziel, being reasonably upset about that, decided to try to fight him a few times. And every time he fought him, he gained a little bit more knowledge about what was going on. And in one moment, that sword on Cain's back, he tries to smash over Raziel, and it shatters. Okay? So when it shatters, obviously, Raziel's not okay. So he goes to the spectral realm. And in the spectral realm, you see that little wispy thingy that's hanging off of Raziel's hand?
Mm-hmm.
That's what was waiting in where he shattered that blade in the spectral realm. And it became his weapon. It tied itself to him. Okay. And he calls it the Soul Reaver. Okay?
Right.
So
Raziel, he and his weapon are both the Soul Reaver,
so to speak, because his role is the Soul Reaver, and the weapon that was shattered is called the Soul Reaver. Okay. Game 2.
Oh my god.
Soul Reaver 2. Okay.
Spark notes, Rob. Spark notes.
Okay. All right. Long story. Really short. Really unfortunately short. So that whole time that everything is going on with, trying to Cain working his way toward that one specific future where he saves the vampire race and saves the world at the same time. That's his goal. Doesn't quite work that way. So
because Raziel's a
Raziel,
selfish bitch.
Raziel and that Soul Reaver weapon in his hand are the same thing. In order to save the world and save Cain, to give them a chance to save the world one more time, he sacrifices himself to become that Soul Reaver weapon. And that Soul Reaver weapon that he holds in the spectral realm gets infused into that weapon back in the past and creates that time cycle, which was what Cain was trying to avoid the whole time. But because he tried to avoid it, he ended up falling. But Raziel found one loophole, and that was to give Cain one more chance to save the world. And that was the ending we got, because we haven't gotten a new game.
That was the one. That's the one where you play as both of them. Soul Reaver 2.
Yep.
That's the only one I've played. Because I remember Raziel like disappearing at the end, and like you just play as Cain for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So as far as Soul Reaver goes, the amount of it that I've played is whatever the trailer was for the game Fighting Force. I just remember there was a game called Fighting Force that my buddy and I played religiously, and then like you could go into a side menu and it was like either that ninja game or Soul Reaver. And the Soul Reaver demo was literally like you're at the base of some spiral in some dark necro world, and you had to like make it to the top, and you got to like 3 different levels, and then it was like, hey, try the game out now. Ah, that wasn't really that great of a demo. Come on, guys.
That was actually the first time I played oh my god, King of Fighters. I think I played King of Fighters 96 on a disc.
Cute. So that's Legacy of Cain.
Yeah, so that was Legacy of Cain, unfortunately abbreviated for as long-winded as that was.
That's the abbreviated version.
Yeah,
I just remember playing Soul Reaver 2 and not knowing what the fuck was happening.
It's trippy though. Like that's the whole thing that gave me that appreciation for story, because the level of directing and voice acting that's in that game is what sold it.
I remember
Graphics
which one I
weren't that
played.
great.
I played Defiance.
That was the last one.
Oh, that's not Legacy of Soul Reaver 2?
No.
Yeah, Defiance was the last one. So Defiance is what, the 4th game technically?
Yeah, Defiance is like the way it ended up, because I forget the reasons, but it's a bunch of them where they were losing the license. One of the main voice actors died. Just a bunch of shit that just stopped it from being even initiated, and just never got off the ground.
Oh, Crystal Dynamics. That's why.
And didn't they go under, or they got absorbed?
They were, it became subsidiary. They work for Square Enix now.
Right, exactly. So
that's literally, it'll come out in 30 years, and they'll be like, hey, we announced this 20,000 years ago.
Again, I haven't played much of it, but just looking at the art now, it kind of reminds me of Darksiders a little bit, like the whole feel.
Okay.
Yes.
My buddy played Darksiders 1 for like the intro, and then I just kind of got out of it, and then they had 2 for free, so I played it, and it was awesome.
They're very cool games.
I have 3, but I haven't gotten into it yet. And I made the mistake of checking out the whole storyline so far, but it's very in-depth and really cool.
The art is fantastic in those games, because I forget the guy's name. He's an actual like comic artist. But like the first one was fantastic. They just really, like, most of them I feel like are very good. They just don't really do anything super original. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of just all like bard mechanics and things like that from other games. But yeah, those games are fucking cool.
Yeah. But that's fine though, because like the combat in the game is simple. Yes. You just hit square, and then like you hit triangle for your secondary.
2 was
weapon.
definitely like miles ahead of the first one too. So I played like a demo for 3. It's very Dark Soulsy. If anyone's into Dark Souls. So.
And they had fantastic voice actors as well too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like Troy Baker, dude. Troy Baker
can literally get any job he wants.
Like he has that. It's uncanny. It's not even like how do I explain it? His Joker, okay? Mm-hmm. He's copying Hamill, obviously, because he has to. But where the variances are, it's not jarring when he does his. Like, he doesn't always go for that high cackle that Hamill does. Mm-hmm. but he can do it in a
there's
different way.
that really famous when they announced him for was Arkham Origins. There's that really, everyone was like, oh, Troy Baker, who's this asshole? Like they always do anytime anyone's like, oh, anyone looks at Batman the wrong way, people fucking lose their minds. So like there's a Comic-Con, I think, panel, or it was either Comic-Con or E3, something like that, where he like does the speech from the one where he rapes Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
The Killing Joke?
Killing Joke, there you go. He does the big speech from Killing Joke. And like everyone is like, and then there's silence. Like it's really well done.
I'm trying to see if I can find that now.
Yeah. So it's Troy Baker, like Killing Joke speech, something like that. I'm sure you can find it.
Speaking of Hamill, though, didn't he also play the
Watcher? Yeah, he played the Watcher in that game.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Like
in Origins?
No, in Darksiders.
Darksiders 1.
Mark Hamill. Yeah, he was the little.
That's right.
It ended up being
little dude who's palling around with you.
Yeah. Oh, and your boy Liam O'Brien is in it too.
Liam.
Because of course,
Sam Burial. I love it.
That's the guy that plays Gara.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool voice.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Really.
He's Gil in Street Fighter V. So they added Gil. Not to get into what I've been doing, but they added Gil in Street Fighter V, and I'll get into that. But yeah, he's the voice.
Why don't we get into what you were doing?
Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of things that I've been passively part of and doing and things like that when it comes to fighting games. So they added Champion Edition, finally dropped on Valentine's Day, where they added Gil. They added him a little bit ago, but I finally got to play him. And they also added Seth, was the second character they added for Street Fighter V. Gil is the big boss for Street Fighter 3 series, if no one really played those. His whole gimmick, he was like bullshit SNK level, like boss character who would literally do resurrection.
Yeah.
And just fucking come back after you're like, yes, finally. And then he would his level 3 was just fucking literally get all of his health back.
I think we have to give a little bit of context as to what SNK boss means.
So the SNK bosses for things like King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, all those they are notorious for being just bullshit.
Absolutely broken.
Absolutely broken, like super moves into each other that you can't ever do in the game yourself, and just like broken ass stupid moves that you can't avoid, all that kind of stuff. So
super armor, fucking
just
broken. Stupid.
Like Samurai Showdown, you can literally do your super desperation move and it like doesn't even activate. They just eat it, and like a quarter of the health that it would normally take comes off.
And the worst is Rugal. The worst one is Rugal.
Which Rugal?
Angry Ultimate Orochi Rugal, that cheating bastard. Oh my god.
I personally thought Ash, like possessed Ash in the end of 13 was way worse.
But he was Zoner. Rugal was just oh my god, relentless.
You around like you're fucking nothing.
I hated that so much.
Yeah. So putting that comparison out there, it's like, how could they ever balance this character to be an actual playable roster kind of thing for competitions, things like that? And the idea is he's got a lot of tools, and that's kind of his thing. He's a very technical character. So he can handle a lot of situations, and he's kind of like a jack of all trades sort of thing. But he's a very technical character. Like his whole shtick. If anyone's ever seen him, he's the dude who's split in half with red and blue. Usually wears a little like diaper thing. He in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
I was about to say, let's get some images.
I got a picture in there. So his whole shtick in this one is he can do kind of like Urian moves. I mean, they're brothers, that's why. But he does like Urian's knee, if anyone's familiar with that. It's like a dive knee where he flips up into the air. So this is Gil. He does a dive knee. He does, instead of Urian's fireball, he does like an actual fireball like made of fire. And then he can also do an ice spike and call meteors and all this kind of stuff. And he's literally supposed to be like the next coming of God. That's his whole shtick. And yeah, it's crazy. He does all kinds of nutso stuff. And he's just a very technical character, like I said. So he's also voiced by Liam O'Brien. So that's why that brought that up. And it's a very different voice from Street Fighter 3, but it's taking some getting used to, but I'm actually liking it a lot. Like it's cool. I like him. He's different and interesting, and I still don't want to play this game because Street Fighter 5 is poo-poo-doo-doo caca. But I said it. I don't care. Street Fighter 5 poopy. This is coming from someone who literally Street Fighter is like my legacy series. So
yeah, I mean that's actually quite blasphemous coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
Is your blood boiling? Do you feel like a sense of itching anywhere?
Yes, I felt it when this released, so that's fine. I mean, this game has come a long, long way, honestly, since it launched, and it is very fun as like a nonsense, just put it in to play kind of game. Just to experiment and do stupid stuff, and then immediately turn it off and play something better. But it's come a very long way. So this is Champion Edition. Definitely feels like the kind of like Ultra for Street Fighter 4. Like it feels like it's the last iteration before we get Street Fighter 6. So, and then Seth was the other character who was the boss of Street Fighter 4. The whole big shtick now is because Seth is a robot android thing. They changed genders of the body that it uses, and everyone's like, it has the same male voice and female body, and that whole discussion. I don't know. Seth's cool. I like Seth, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because people are ignorant boobs, essentially, is what it comes down to.
People, it's whatever. It's whatever.
I don't really want to get into it. It's just people are idiots and ignorant boobs. That's all it is.
Yes.
But it's kind of cool because like that's his whole shtick, right? Like he copies people's characters and moves and all that kind of stuff. And of course, he had a different body that was supposed to be more optimal. I think this one was actually like a prototype body, so it was a female body that they download his personality into. And they like take the copy move thing to an extreme where his V skill. So all the characters in this particular iteration have what they call the V system, where they get a special like unique move that they can do.
Right.
His in particular is or hers, depending on which body you pick, is literally they like punch you in the stomach and steal one of the special moves. So your combos vary depending on who you're going against. It's really interesting. Like they'll steal Sonic Boom from Guile. They'll steal I think it's the Hadouken. Chun-Li's like flip kick, the Hizanshu, steals that. It's cool. Like every character is just something completely different. So it's interesting to watch. Character needs to do some work. It's not a great character, but it's cool.
Yeah,
it's interesting to watch. So, so that was really my shtick of why I wanted to talk about it with Liam. But we can go back to whatever else you were doing if you had anything else.
I don't know. I'm good. Ben?
Sorry, I'm still just looking at this glorious red blue guy.
Red blue man, yeah. It's Kikaider over here.
all I could think of was that, I think it was you who sent it, Rob, but that Dexter's Laboratory, or no, the Fairy Odd Parents, I can see, I can fight.
That's exactly it.
Exactly that guy. Well, I'm not big into those kind of games, but I told you guys I sent my book in.
Yes.
Did you hear anything yet?
Not yet, but I think that has to do with the fact that they have like 400 pages to read.
Gotcha.
Oh,
and I'm sure they have about 400 submissions too. So,
right. So, I'm not gonna like panic over it and send them 25 more copies. Like, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? Just want to make sure you got it. Just send it to the right email. Right. Yeah. So
we have built an extension onto our building with your books.
Please stop sending them.
But have you read any of them yet? No.
Very solid mortar.
So, but I'm not too worried about it because I know it takes time. Like it took 8 months just to get it registered, so I'm fine sitting back and just waiting for it as long as they, take their time and
as long as they, read it faster.
Yeah. As long as, why don't they have a team reading my book right now?
Mm-hmm. So I mean that's fine. While that's going on, I've got a few other jobs lined up, so
nice.
It'd be cool to finally get out of delivery. That's about it. Really,
not too much.
Nah, I mean, as far as video games go, I kind of hit like a snag with them. Like all the old ones, I've just played into the ground, and there's the random ones like Fortnite I'll hop into every once in a while, but not too big anymore. It kind of got ruined. Getting back into Minecraft just because it's a fun game to pass the time.
Gotcha.
You don't have that. You don't have that one game that you could always pin to play, no matter how many times.
Yes and no. It used to be like Kingdom Hearts until that was destroyed.
We could do an episode of Kingdom Hearts if you want. I got opinions.
Let me see. We should at some point because I want Disney and Enix to hear exactly what they did wrong because
I can tell.
The only one that
we would have to get Alex episode. I mean, I've watched Alex play all these games, and the latest one I watched like the story on like a YouTube video. But I mean, I've never
actually just 3D print a body, guys. That's why not
more than like half an hour of the first game. That was it. That's all I ever played.
If we actually are gonna do an episode on that, I'll save the big thing. But if I could summarize it real quick, it's just. And it's not just for Square Enix and Disney either, but I've noticed it with a lot of new game remakes and movie remakes. They're picking the wrong targets. So, like, for example, when we grew up in our age range, that's when the classic Disney movies and Final Fantasies were coming out. So we grew up on that and we loved it. The kids nowadays have no idea what Final Fantasy VII is. Or what the original Goofy movie is.
They will in like a month and a half.
Right, but that's the thing. So they don't know that, and so Disney thought, "Hey, here's an idea. Let's make the third installment, but actually like the ninth or 10th. Yeah, let's make the 10th installment of this game that 20 years ago these kids were playing, but we'll rewrite it so that the kids who've been waiting have no idea what's going on, and the kids that are just now getting introduced to it won't have any interest in it because it has nothing to do with anything they grew up with."
I wonder whatever their major franchise kind of took that route with the most recent movie that came out. Weird. Some weird parallels how they both failed miserably.
Which one?
Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The ninth movie very much was the same kind of thing. They tried to please everyone and failed miserably.
He had to fix it. It was broken.
I mean, it's not his fault. They could have just ran with something new, but God forbid.
They could have planned everything.
They could have literally planned everything.
Yeah. Plan everything. You had 30 plus years to plan everything.
Well, it didn't help that the directors literally came back. Like J.J. Abrams was like, "I'm only going to make the first one," and then he was like, "You know what? I'm going to make the third one too." So I was like, "Oh, okay."
Not that but at the same time, like, dude, why not have like an idea where the story's going to end up?
Yeah. I don't know.
So it's
and
really
didn't they just announce that he's a clone? That the Palpatine in the movie was a clone? Anyway?
I mean, it was very clear he was a clone in the movie. If you watch the movie,
like, I mean, I get it, but it still doesn't make it any better. Like ever, like it makes it worse. Actually, to just
it's like you're just dragging on a story for no reason.
Yeah,
like at some point we'll kill the real Palpatine, but let's throw 5 clones in.
It's just
so we can
all I'm
get
saying is there really Sith or is Palpatine just a dick? Like I feel like there's not actually Sith. It's just all Palpatine.
Yeah,
like the Sith could be like, "Hey man, high five, good job," and Palpatine's over there like, "Yes, good, give into the dark side,
do it."
But then, and then didn't they just announce that they're doing a High Republic?
Yes.
Another prequel.
They're doing like an old Republic style High Republic, whatever the hell it's called. Yes.
They're just having like a competition with themselves as to how prequel they can get.
Yes.
Like, just no. Before that.
But this is the before. So it's
not before that. After that one, but before
after that one, but a little bit before that. But like right
too far back. Too far back. You gotta bring it up a little bit.
No.
Okay, let's start over. Okay, so the new one, right?
Right, the new one.
You gotta go back 10 times.
10 times.
9 times. 10 times, but like not exactly 10 times, like a little bit.
Doesn't that stop like right after that one? That's after that one, but not.
No, the other one.
Oh wait, hang on. Ready? It's all gone, man. None of it's canon anymore. We got to start over.
Okay.
Start it over.
All right, gotcha.
Luke's dead.
You know what?
He's nothing to us anymore.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. Jar Jar Binks 2.
Ooh, that's it. We nailed it. We nailed it. Print. Let's go.
Except this time, he's the Jedi.
He's the Dark Lord he always meant to be. Let's do this.
Where you been?
What are these accents we've developed? What is happening?
I don't know. We just became some.
It came out of nowhere.
All I was seeing was
Yoda.
a heavily smoking room with like suspenders and straps.
Right? They just need like a glass of whiskey and swilling around and a cigar. Like, yeah.
Hey, Johnny, play that one about those guys in space again.
Too far back, Tommy. You're fired. Oh, Lord. You just slap an ass. Because workplace appropriation is fantastic.
That is it.
Nailed
it. Where were we going with that? I forget where we started.
No, it was about video games.
It was about yes. We will do, if we ever get our like video game podcast thing going, we'll just do an entire episode of Kingdom Hearts. How about that?
Okay,
sounds good.
Well, on my end, the mic cut out, so all I heard was, "If we ever get it going."
If we ever get any kind of video game podcast going, we'll just fucking Kingdom Hearts an episode. Why not?
Yeah, that would be. Oy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh no, but actually, so way back when though, like in the past, as Rob says, you asked me about a game that I'll like continuously play.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you guys know it, but I'm big into strategy games. So like Dungeon Defense, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't know if it's super famous. Not many people I know of it. I got one of my buddies into it, but there's a game called Dungeons. And essentially, no, just Dungeons. They have 3 of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally just a game where you play the villain. So it's not your character, but the ultimate evil.
Mm-hmm.
Is like the lord of these dungeons, and he died, but his essence was trapped in this crystal heart. So his essence can seep out of it, and then you just play like a floating hand of his that can point around and like pick up his creatures and whatever. And you get little snots. They're like little goblins, and you essentially are in a dungeon, and you get to carve out rooms and build like a brewery and a fighting pit and a Gorgon lair and things like that, and you just build an army, and then you take them above ground to like destroy the hero cities and take out the heroes and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really, really addictive. Like one mission will take you good like 2 hours.
Damn.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's fun because it's like, I don't. If you guys ever played the Heroes games, like Heroes of Might and Magic?
No.
Oh.
No.
We could do another episode on that.
What is that for though? Like
I think it's Xbox, PS4. It might be on computer. I'm not entirely sure.
I assume if they're on the main consoles, they're usually on computer at this point.
I gotta give me one of them main consoles.
No, but I mean, it's just it's cool. I enjoy games where like you get to see progress. So like they kind of ruined it. They just took the function out in the third game, but like in the second game, you have orcs,
mm-hmm.
and they'll just be orcs. But as you progress in the dungeon and you get more gold and you get upgrades and all that, you can buy like the fighting pit. And when you get the fighting pit, your orcs can go in and practice for experience. And once they hit like level 5, you can choose to have them become orc overlords or brawlers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And if you pick overlord, the orcs get like twice their size and their skin turns red and they've got like bones hanging on them and they've got like 2 swords that are on fire, and they will lead your orc packs and boost their morale and do like fire breath kind of stuff.
Oh shit.
Or you can choose like the fighter path, and they get covered in solid metal armor from head to toe, and they can take 20 times the amount of damage, and they like their hits are solid punches that can just do like heavy physical damage. So they're like a brute force. And that's kind of how like each character class goes. Like you get the demons, the nagas, the undead, like the skeletons who become groups of skeletons, or they become specters and things like that.
How I gotta know how in like that sounds like super in depth. Like, is this a pick up and go kind of game?
Oh yeah,
no. Really got to dive deep.
No, it's so easy. So imagine there's a dungeon and your overhead view.
Okay.
And you just see a hand floating on the screen, and you can highlight. It's set up by like square cube grid. So you can highlight cubes in the dungeon, and your snots will start to break down the walls, and it'll clear out rooms. But you get to design their shapes and sizes and all that. Once a room is cleared out, or a path is cleared out from stone,
Okay.
you just hit like triangle, and it'll open up a menu that says like buildings, rooms, creatures.
Okay.
And so you hit rooms, and it'll say like the brewery. So you drag your hand across those 6 tiles with the brewery selected, and then your snots will start to build a brewery, and then they make beer, and your orcs get drunk, and that's how they stay happy.
Gotcha.
And then you'll build like
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
The demon pit, and then once you have a demon pit built, you can go into your menu and go to creatures, and you can summon a harpy or a succubus or something like that.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty easy.
That sounds like something
interesting. Yeah, I kind of feel myself doing the same thing where like lately it's kind of been I need that full customization of like how I want to play sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I picked up Skyrim again actually.
Okay.
Just to like fuck around because I never played any of the DLC, and then I was also like, you know what? They also allow mods on consoles now, so I'm just gonna mess around with this game. Because it's one of those games like no matter what, you can always just jump in and do whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can just kill hours.
That was the other thing too. So not only is it like a really addictive game, but it's hilarious because there's a narrator, and it's like they take the best from all of the mega fantasy genres and turn it into a spoof. So like in the third game, there's a dwarf that you have to try and kill, who's named Grimly, and like he's just scraggly and like ugly looking, but it's supposed to be based off Gimli, and like they make quotes where there's a mission, you gotta like find a demon, and the hero tries to steal him from you, and you have to blow up a bridge, and when you blow up the bridge, the narrator's like, "You shall not oh wait, nope, whoop, sorry, different genre." Anyway, the ultimate evil blew up the bridge, and like that kind of stuff.
It
So
doesn't take
it's a good laugh.
Seriously, that's awesome. Okay.
Nice.
I dig it.
Yeah,
I may want to play that.
sounds pretty good. Did you guys ever play Slay the Spire?
No.
No, it sounds like it's kind of like it's the best way is like a roguelike deck builder game.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. I don't know, it just reminded me of that because it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek fantasy, but also kind of do whatever you want.
Is that the kind of game you pick up and play anytime?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I pick up and play the Yu-Gi-Oh one every once in a while. I really don't like lately just because it's a whole bunch of stuff. Like I said, fighting games have been happening. It's been a lot of like fighters that I just pick up and play, do a couple matches, and then move on to the next thing. Or like Skyrim. Like I said, I just picked up Skyrim.
Well, there's not that one game that you want to.
Like the one game.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 5, since it came out last year. Honestly, I'll just pop it in and do a couple missions or do like a couple Bloody Palace attempts, and then move on because I love that game to no end.
I wouldn't have thought it was something that new. I thought it was gonna be like a vintage one.
No, I mean it's just since that one came out because I don't. Fortunately or unfortunately, there's really not like it's hard to really pick one because it fluctuates so much. Like I just picked up the Mass Effect trilogy again, and like I started over from scratch from those. Like I feel like Mass Effect 2 was always one of those games back when I had a 360. Like I could
Mass
always
Effect 2 is awesome.
Yeah, like I beat that game 7 times. Like I could always just pick that game up and start playing.
That's good. That's a good pick. Yeah,
that was probably the closest I've had. I don't know if I've really had one this generation other than like, I mean, fighters definitely like Dragon Ball Fighters.
Right.
But again, that's a fighting game, so it's a lot easier because time seems to be ever fleeting nowadays. So like doing a couple matches in fighters is a lot different than like sinking a few hours into like an RPG or something like I would normally like to do. I'm gonna say Mass Effect 2 honestly, because like I know I just said I don't have time for that, but like yeah, like just the Mass Effect series in general, I always have fun just going into like that universe. I love the Mass Effect universe.
It's like I mean, obviously you can do the Renegade and you know those kind of choices and be that player, but you know you could do freaking anything with the options that they give you.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like as terrible as Andromeda was, like one of the coolest things was being able to just cross class everything to whatever you freaking wanted. And that was really cool because you know before you had to pick a class and you were kind of stuck with that. Especially in the first one, I'm realizing how kind of as I go through it slowly, like I'm realizing how dated and kind of stiff it is, I guess is the word. Because like you pick, if you didn't beat the game, you are stuck with the pistol or like whatever perk weapon you had, which most of them just had the pistol and that was it. Which was kind of like, why did you even bother having? Oh god! I hit play on my Legend Heroes by accident. So there may be just a random jingle in this episode somewhere.
Carl, no, stop, don't wow.
But I want to. It's so good. So yeah, it's Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2.
Mine is a very old PS1. Vandal Hearts.
I've never actually played that one.
Did you ever play that, Ben?
I don't even know what it is.
Okay. It is.
I've heard the name. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. It is the only tactics-based game that I enjoy playing. Like it's if you ever played Final Fantasy Tactics, it plays that way, where it's like a grid and you get to maneuver your characters only a certain area. But it's so simple because I played this as a kid. Like I can't even remember how old I was, but I just remember I didn't understand the subtleties. So as I grew older, I kind of like replayed the game and I realized that I could do all different things with the characters that I had and come out with like different combos. And I literally played the game all the way up until like freaking college. And that was probably like the last time I played it. But there was so many variations to how you could play tactics. You could choose to end a battle, to do different things in the battle. It's just that kind of, and it's not too difficult. That's the one thing that I have to stress, because once you get too many sub menus and shit in a game, I can't keep up anymore. I just can't do it. But anyway, Vandal Hearts is like an old PS1 game. If you never played it, I would play it because it's a very fun tactics game, and it has a dope story too.
I noticed because you were saying like how it was way back from when you were a kid, and it's like easy to play now. I grew up with the N64. Like I had the NES for a little bit, but I was too young to kind of appreciate it. So the N64 was like my first go-to system.
Right.
And I remember playing games like Rayman 2, The Great Escape, and like you'd get levels, and I'm a perfectionist, so like I needed to find all of the fairies and like get all that stuff. And there were just levels where I'm like, I can't do this. This is impossible. Flash forward to like 25-year-old me, and I borrowed the system from my brother. I'm like, you know what? I'll throw this in. It was a good game. It was pretty long. I'll figure it out. And I had like 10 levels perfected in 20 minutes. Like, come on, this is. And then I got so excited because I'm like, oh, I'm at that level now that I could never get the thing. 5 minutes later, wow, I beat the game already.
Got the thing. Oh,
man. All right, so I gotta
satisfying.
Kind of in that vein, have you guys ever had like that nostalgia trip where you're like, this game was so good, so great, I love it, and then you play it again and you're like, wow, this is terrible.
No, not. But you can't do that because you love it. So instead of wow, this is terrible, it's wow, don't you love it?
You're holding back the like. Like, have you guys had that game?
Yes.
What is it? What is it?
It's been more than one actually. When I went and we dug up the PS1, we played like all the PS1 games, and every single one was like, oh, those were real great. Tekken 3 is guilty among the top for me, because I remember thinking how real they looked. Like, wow, you could see like the definition, and they move smoothly. And then when Jin does the spinning tornado kick, his hips like disappear. But yeah, definitely for me it was Tekken 3, because I used to think that game was like awesomely real.
I don't know. I keep thinking of games like, oh yeah, this one, oh yeah, that one, but then I think a little more about it, and they actually are better. Well, not better, but like you go back and you're like, wow, I can appreciate this a lot more for the time it came out now, because it was ahead of its time. Like Donkey Kong 64.
Oh,
okay.
Like the movement style and the combat style was a very unique thing for a 64 game. It's like the same thing with Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Like they had that very fluid movement kind of thing that like PS1 games were lacking, where like you didn't have joysticks, so you had to hit up, down, left, or right, and you had to like squish your thumb to get up and left to do a diagonal step, and it was just awkward. So those were pretty cool.
Don't lie, it was only because of the Donkey Kong rap in the beginning.
The Donkey Kong.
No, honestly, it wasn't. Like I liked the concept of exploring levels to find bananas to feed to a hippo to open a door, and then you just get into this really intense boss fight, and it was just like a cool adventure game as a kid.
I liked Banjo-Kazooie.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Oh god, what are you?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did.
Like I have really nice memories of Banjo-Kazooie whenever I think of the Snow World, because it was the theme song, but just in like a wintry kind of Christmas tone, and it's like, oh man, now I want to go back. Man, dang it.
There was.
Oh yeah. Okay, that.
Yeah, that was the intro to Donkey Kong 64.
Have you ever seen? There's a meme, or not a meme, a Vine or whatever, but they get to the one with Chunky, and so like they're going through like, and there's Diddy, and they come around, they're like, and then there's Chunky, he's dead, and they just show like his picture in a like one of those wreaths in front of his casket, and it just fades to black, and you're like, what the heck?
What is happening? That's awesome.
Did either of you ever play Donkey Kong?
Which one?
I just heard Donkey Kong. Like, yes, I've played fucking Donkey Kong.
No, Donkey Konga, the one with the drum.
Oh yeah, that was actually like my first GameCube game.
Really, I never played. I always wanted to play it, but I never played it.
It was cool, but it was like thrift store versions of songs.
So, like the karaoke machine version.
Yeah, so like it had like the real voices, but they had to change the beat so that you could play the drums to fit it. So it was like 25-cent beats in the background.
It's music. It's like elevator music.
Not the original.
Nice. I have Jungle Beats at my store sitting right now in the drawer.
I always wanted to play it. I never played it.
Yeah.
I used to play the hell out of Guitar Hero though.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
Literally
yeah,
everyone.
and then it became too mainstreamed, and I was like, nah, never mind.
And then
then you actually had to learn how to play the guitar.
Did you guys ever play the game Rocksmith instead of Guitar Hero?
Rock Band?
I mean, they were all the same.
No, Rocksmith was different. Rocksmith, you could actually plug a guitar in, and it would teach you how to play guitar. It was actually really cool.
Yeah, I think
it was basically the same kind of songs as like Rock Band and Guitar Hero and all those. But the cool thing was you couldn't actually fail a song. It would just lower the difficulty, so you could learn the songs on there. But it would go from like,
this, but we are gonna let you know how pathetic you are.
Yeah, the crowd would be like, yeah, great,
good job, buddy.
You did it. Because like you do bad enough, it's like one note per like 37. It's like,
hey, what?
But in the back, you're like,
what rank did you get? Patronized?
I got humiliated.
What rank? 2? But that's not. They don't.
They gave me a 2.
I don't know. It just says 2.
but it's not even the number 2. It's like TOO.
Yeah, 2. Like yeah. That's about that. I remember the game. I think we talked about this before, Rob, but there was a game called Chaos Legion on the PS2.
Yes, we have.
And I remember that game being like the Devil May Cry killer. Fucking, I thought it was the coolest shit. Basically, it was Devil May Cry, but you could like summon Persona, and they all did a different thing.
Yep.
And then I played it about 5 years ago, and it was not the Devil May Cry killer.
Is it even as hard? Because I remember that game being fucking hard.
It's not hard because it's hard. It's hard because the controls are fucking terrible.
Because he moves at like the speed of a dead sloth.
Yeah, and like everything is just fighting you literally when it comes to the controls. So that's
on that note.
Difficulty.
That was really hard for me to do with Dark Souls.
Really?
Because I played Dark Souls 1, and I rented it out of a Redbox, which was a mistake because I fell in love with it and had it for like 30 days, and they're like, hey, you're gonna have to buy it if you don't. And I was like, no, I'm not buying a Redbox version. That's stupid. So I gave it back, but I thought I was close to the end, And then like a year later, I found it brand new for like $10 at a Kmart. So I was like, I'll get back into it. I threw it in and found out I wasn't even halfway done with the game.
Damn.
but I beat it, and like I just put it down. I was like, oh, they're coming out with the second one. And then the second one came out, and it wasn't as good, but they fixed a lot with the controls and just the fluidness of everything. So it was a lot easier to get into, and like, okay, I'm getting the hang of it. And then from that, I got better at Souls games. And eventually I was like, you know what? I kind of want to go back to 1 and figure it out. And I hopped in, and I remember it was like left foot,
yes,
right foot, left foot. And I'm like, man, I remember the second game, like I'm sprinting and I did a front flip leap off of a canyon.
Yes.
Why is this so bad? And then like I even took all of my armor off and put Havel's ring on, and it was still like left foot, right foot, left foot. I'm like, no, this is bad.
Well, if you ever talk to someone like who is the diehard, like on Discord here or anything in like the Souls community, and you tell them 2 is better than 1, they will fucking cut you first off.
Oh yeah, no, if
100%.
They remade 1,
yes,
but they didn't fix that.
Yes.
And I was really hoping they would,
Yes.
because if 1 had the fluidness of 2 and 3,
yes,
it would probably be the best game in the series.
yes. I 1,000 billion% agree with you, because I didn't play 1 all the way through until Remastered came out. So I'm going through Bloodborne and 3 and 2. Like 2 was the first one I beat. And then I went through 3 and Bloodborne and like speed. You know what I mean? Like those games are so much faster. And then you go back to 1 and it's just like I'm an actual snail right now.
But then you think about it, like maybe the game wasn't difficult. Maybe it just had really terrible handling.
Yeah, it's dated. Like that's the only way to describe it. So
I don't know if Gwyn was coming at me at the speed of the Nameless King, poop a lot.
I mean, he does kind of do that, and he still makes me poop, even though I killed him in 1 shot. But whatever.
Yeah, but see, like even that, I remember, and I'm glad they dumbed it down to a degree. But I eventually found out all you had to do was get high enough in either pyromancy or intelligence to get iron skin really good. I went into the Gwyn fight and was just like, slap, my skin's iron, and then just beat him to death.
Yeah.
And didn't even, like, all right, slash.
So my approach to most of those games is find the biggest, dumbest sword I can and just beat things until they actually splat into the floor. So, yeah, I did the same thing.
I was always more of a dexterous character, but I loved using the Black Knight greats. No, not, I don't know. It was either, I think it was the great sword, because I don't think there is just a regular Black Knight like straight sword.
There is. There's a great sword, and then it becomes like an ultra great sword later when they add those. But yeah, the sword is a great sword.
It's the one where you like if you dual wield it, you slash down and up.
Yes.
Rather than to the side.
Yes, that's the
those
ultra great swords in 2.
Yeah, 3. Those were just the best.
Yes.
In the game in general, because you wouldn't ever hit a wall and like clink and block the attack. You just keep going. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. I fucking love Dark. I have like 400 hours in Dark Souls 3. I'm gross.
That was the thing too. I spent a good month playing it. Didn't even get halfway through, and then a buddy was like, "Hey, did you ever see the guidebook for it?" No, and he dropped a textbook on my lap, and I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "Oh yeah, just so you know, the first half of that book is how many levels you can gain and what you get at each level."
Yeah. It's like the actual,
what?
like he literally just dropped the Odyssey in your lap.
Shit, really? I didn't know that was a thing.
It's intense. That thing's crazy. Yeah.
I went lore crazy for this game, though. I'll tell you that. The Dark Souls and the Soulsborne.
It's interesting. It's the whole like story behind it is Miyazaki just knew broken English, so he had to like piece the stories together himself. So that's how he trained himself to be a storyteller. It was amazing. Fascinating, honestly.
See, that's the other thing too. Two kind of messed with the story also.
Yes.
Like you had the great worms like Frampt and whatever the other guy was. And then I found out like through a YouTube video that Frampt was in the second game, but he was a human. Like you literally just come into this jail cell where there's this guy in a black hood and he's a merchant and he's selling you stuff. But if you dig really deep into the game, you find out that like in that castle where that cell is that this guy's held at, there are statues of Frampt everywhere.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And the guy has the exact same, like, it's the same voice actor as Frampt, and he even makes notes like, oh, another chosen one or something, like he's done it before, and you're like, but why is he a human though?
Well, that's like the first boss you fight in the jail cell, the one where like the bug crawls into your eyeball. That's like the Witch of Izalith and all that kind of stuff. Like they do little things that make Dark Souls 2 not really tie into it, and then like they had to make DLC for 3 that like tied all of it together. The world's literally like the timeline is literally falling apart in Dark Souls 3, and they have like levels from Dark Souls 2, like the Earthen Peak and all that kind of stuff.
I'm pretty sure they said the Souls series is done, right?
Yeah, he's done working on it for now. He didn't say anything about
for now.
For now, he didn't say anything about Dark Souls. Anyway, I should say. Let me clarify. Dark Souls. He said he's done working on Dark Souls. It doesn't mean anything about like Bloodborne 2 or anything like that.
Okay. So if Dark Souls doesn't continue, I'm not really sure if the ending was explained at all.
It wasn't, but it was the end of the world, and you're basically fighting for. You fight Gale in Dark Souls 3. Did you get that far?
The DLC, right?
Yeah, Ring City, the last one. You fight Gale at the end of the world, and you kind of like the whole thing of Dark Souls 3 is like time loops and all that kind of stuff. So.
The way I understood it though was prior to that, it was men who were fighting to keep the Age of gods alive, which is fire. So if you have fire, you're a god and you can control whatever. So the whole thing behind the Dark Soul is that it was the tiny soul left behind for humans to
all of humanity is essentially the Dark Soul.
Basically. So what I understood it was, for the first time ever in the third game, is when the chosen undead finally obtained all of the souls, and then uses the Dark Souls basically to like cancel it out and end it for good.
Yeah, essentially all of them turn into like, because obviously there's multiple endings to them. They all essentially turn into like, do you continue the Age of Fire or do you start the Age of Darkness? And like the Shadow Lord one that I liked personally, where you like follow the schools of Frampt and all those guys, and you learn about the sisters and all that kind of stuff. And when you literally absorb the Dark Soul and you just become God of the Dark Realm, it's kind of sick. Actually,
like I was saying, with me being a perfectionist, I was trying to get all the trophies for the different endings in Dark Souls 3, and I got the one where you put the fire back on, or the one where you keep it, and then the secret ending with the DLCs and all that. But there's another secret ending where if you give the Fire Keeper the soul, she bends down to try and put it out, and you can choose. She can either put it out, or you can kill her while she's doing it. And then you steal the flame back again anyway. And so I was like, oh, I've heard about this. I'll do the one right now where I kill her, because I always feel like being a hero. And I was like, if there's a bad ending, I want to get that out of the way first, and then I'll end the game as a hero. So I was like, oh, I'll just kill her. Well, I kill her, and you just and it fades to black, and then the credits start rolling, and I'm like, any second now, any second now. Why isn't there a trophy popping up? And I looked. That's the only ending that doesn't give you a trophy. And I just did it, and the game saved. And I was like, well, playthrough 3. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a tough decision to do another playthrough in those games.
When I got the Twin Prince sword in 3, that was pretty much...
You didn't even get it until I told you it existed.
That's what I'm saying. After I got that, I kind of didn't think I would get anything that was...
You didn't?
No, like... I don't know. The game was fun as hell, and it was more fun to have the struggle than finally getting all those pieces and struggle. Like, not bad.
Crazy. A game's more fun when someone doesn't do all the hard work for you. Wild.
Thanks, bro.
You're welcome.
It is a fantastic game line, though, because that was the one thing. I don't want to make it sound like I'm super smart or intelligent, but growing up playing games, like I could figure them out real quick and they'd be over, and it was like, well, whatever. And then, like I said, an entire month, and I didn't even get halfway through the game, and I was finally like, you know what? This might be a series that I could actually, like, get smarter playing.
What's the most amount of souls that you held?
Me?
Oh, do you really want to know?
Yes.
Yeah, because, or I should say, let me just throw a question. What's the most you lost and lost for good?
The most I lost for good was probably
like
700,000.
That's it? Ooh. So I had to save in 3. You know where the I forget what the swamp area is called, but that particular part where you go from the swamp to this overpass where you meet these 2 black knights just before you fight the
you fight the
Legion.
Legion
Yeah. That little area. I went and I must have saved. I know I had close to 2 million souls. And on my route back, that little path that all you got to do is just walk right up it. I walked up it, but I fell back down. And when I fell down, this enemy hit me. That moment, like when it happened, I was like, no, that didn't.
No.
Okay.
There's no way. There's no, and then and it took me quite a while to pick that stick back up.
You just hear dong. All right, that's it. Okay, so has this happened to any of you guys? Because this has happened to me multiple times, and every time it happens, I know it's happening, and I let it happen because my brain still isn't fast enough to go, no, get out of the way. Have you ever been in a fight with either someone who joins in as a spirit to take you out, or just an enemy, and they hit you and it knocks you down, and you have no health bar? But then your character stands back up and just looks at the enemy, and you're like, wait, I'm alive still?
Yep.
Oh, well, I was alive. But now I've got a great sword coming out of my butt. So,
not very often.
Thanks, millimeter green bar on my health bar.
Oh, yeah, that bullshit bar.
Yeah. No, but most amount of souls I've ever had on me, though, was 3 million. Give or take, like, some additives here and there. Because I think I was on like playthrough 5, and I didn't want to level up with it.
Yeah,
it was like for weapon purchasing.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure I got the stuff, but like I just once it got to 3 million something, I was like, all right, this is good. I'll just level up these 10 weapons quick.
No, that's
yeah,
almost 2 million souls.
4 million I've lost. I've lost 4 million souls.
4 million?
4 million.
What?
Yes, I'd lost 4 million souls. I didn't play the game for about a week. It was one of those like because it just gets to that point. You do so many like +1s, plus new game plus 1, 2. I was on like 5 or 6 on Bloodborne, and I literally needed that many to like level up essentially. And yeah, it was like one of those. I don't even remember where it was at this point, but. Like it was one of those like, oh, I can beat this game no problem. Like I've beaten Orphan of Coast solo, I've beaten Lady Maria solo. I could do this game like blindfolded kind of thing. And then like you know where it was? You know where it goddamn was? It was the Astral Tower. I'm getting mad now. It was the Astral Tower with those stupid meathead things that do a dumb amount of damage for no reason whatsoever. And so like running to get back to my souls, I literally like was like, come on, getting my souls. They did it. I just got real quiet. Put the controller to the side and just walked out of the room. I was like, I'm done.
So
that's all you.
Okay, so Bloodborne. Mm-hmm. Do you know in the last DLC, the one with the child of Alara, I think it is, or something like that.
The Orphan Coast? Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. So in that DLC, there's a certain part where, like, in the middle of the town, there's a well, and if you crawl down it, there's these 2 giant mouth. Okay, so me and my buddy went down, and they started chomping at us, and we're like, crap, we got to get out. So my buddy died, and I climbed up the ladder just in time. And I was like, that's fine, I'll just summon you back in. Which then began the funniest moment in my gaming history. So, you know how there's the drop stabs, where you can leap off a building or whatever and do mega damage? So he and I are standing on this, whatchamacallit, the well. And I was like, all right, here's what we can do. If I die, we have to restart and they all respawn. If you die, his health will remain the same and you can come back in and just keep wailing on him till he dies. And we'll take him out one at a time. He's like, good idea. I was like, so what you're going to do is he's still down at the bottom of the well. I want you to take your great halberd, jump down on him and stab him in the face, and then I'll come down after you once your attack has finished, and I'll hit him with a second drop attack. He's like, cool, got it. Ready? break. He jumps down the well, and it was like a Leroy Jenkins moment. He falls, and I hear, ah! I'm like, what? And so I jump down thinking it's my turn, and as I fall, I hit the ground and die. And as I'm fading away, I see this monster pick my buddy up and just eat him and swallow him down his throat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this didn't work at all. They ate him. They ate him, and I broke my legs. Why? Because it was just so wrong. Like, everything should have worked, and none of it did. Like, he didn't even hit the guy. He fell and immediately got grabbed. And the thing just opened its mouth and started chomping on him. And then as my legs broke and I faded, I just see my buddy's legs slide down the guy's throat.
Oh my god, that's fucking great.
If that is not like the quintessential Dark Souls experience, I don't know what is, honestly.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, describe Dark Souls in one word. Ah!
Oh man. I will never ever defeat the boss that is ledges in those games. I have an uncanny ability to just roll off the side of ledges no matter what I'm doing. It could be the 1,000th time I'm through an area, I will find a way to roll off an edge. It is the worst.
Oh, shit.
So I think that's a good place to stop for today.
Yeah,
that
was a good one.
You died.
That was the game. Yeah, you died.
We're going to put a shameless plug. So some of our greatest gaming gaffes are on the YouTube channel that we have, Console Kings. If you want to check that out, we have a bunch of older...
They're very old at this point. They're like 5-6 years old now.
Way longer. But anyway, yeah, close enough. You can check that out.
We do all kinds of cool stuff. We played like Lost Planet 2. We played You Can Hear Me Scream very loudly as we play Fatal Frame. We do all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So
anyway,
yeah. So that was the game cast.
Welcome
to the game cast. Yeah, that was cool. My name's Carl.
I'm Rob.
I'm Ben.
Thanks for listening to Tokudon, and we'll get back to some Toku next week when we review The Guyver, or whenever we record.
Should we really be giving timelines out like that?
No, yeah, that's why I rolled back on that real quick. It's like
we'll be on next whenever we're on.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Tokudon, episode 2.
How long's it been, Johnny? It's only been a week. We told them that 5 years ago.
5 years ago? When was that? Before the first one or the second one?
It's all canceled. It's all canceled. Forget about it.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.
Play me off, Jimmy.